So Donald Trump recently did a rally in Alabama, and something amazing emerged from it. Take a look at this video.
And then we developed a vaccine, 3 vaccines in 3 months, in 9 months. And actually, I'll tell you, it was 3 days less than 9 months. And it's great. And you know what? I believe totally in your freedoms. I do. You got to do what you have to do. But I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. But no, that's okay. That's all right. You got your freedoms. But I happen to take the vaccine. If it doesn't work, you'll be the first to know, okay? I'll call up Alabama and say, hey, you know what? But it is working. But you do have your freedoms. You have to maintain that. You have to maintain that. And you got to get your kids back to school.
Okay, so that was pretty amazing there. So that was Donald Trump talking to his servants about the vaccine, obviously. And there he was booed for a moment there, but he managed to turn him around. So let's get into this. So I believe this particular rally was in Coleman, Alabama specifically, but it was in Alabama. Alabama, for those of you that may not be aware, is the most, as it pertains to percentages, the most unvaccinated state in the country, I believe. So he starts off by saying, we developed the vaccine and, the vaccine's great. He said it's great, referring to the vaccine. Now, on this point, he's correct. And he deserves credit here. Donald Trump and his administration enacting Operation Warp Speed, it definitely aided in the production of the vaccine and how quickly the vaccine was made. I mean, this is record-breaking in terms of vaccines and how quickly it was able to be dispersed to the population. And I'm sure lives were saved with how quickly they developed it, of course. And, had they not had been so quick with the development of the vaccine, who knows how many lives may have been sacrificed. So he deserves credit there. And I love how he goes in, typical Donald Trump fashion. He says, I believe totally in your freedoms, right after saying that the vaccine's great. And then he says, but I recommend taking the vaccines. I did. It's good. Take it. So he says of course, we all know he got the vaccine. He's probably one of the first people to get it. And he says that it's good. So take it. And he said, I recommend taking the vaccine. And of course, he got booed. And then he pulls it back around and said, but hey, you got your freedoms. You got your freedoms. But I happen to take the vaccine. And to me, this speaks to his ability to just woo those that idolize him so much, And I mean, he was the president of the United States and he didn't get there, through sheer luck alone. He has a talent, and his talent is public speaking. It's definitely not policy. It's definitely not taking care of people. It's definitely not providing you health care, ending the wars, raising wages, because he did none of that when he was in office, okay? But his talent is public speaking, and he's a good public speaker, obviously. Somehow, through all of his fuck-ups, he's managed to keep a large majority, not a majority of the country, but a decent chunk of the Republican base they're still with him. I mean, obviously, that was a packed rally that you just witnessed there. And so he says that the vaccine's good, take it, got booed, then wound himself back up, retreating back to the freedom thing. Hey, you got your freedoms. And that's, to me, just another way of saying, you don't have to take it if you don't want to. I mean, that's what he's de facto saying with this whole freedom argument, you got your freedoms, but hey, I took it. And the thing that's funny to me is that, I mean, this is kind of a scam. It's theatrics, these prominent Republican figures, whether it be, Rand Paul, the anti-maskers, the people that are anti-vaccine mandate, all these other, they get their base riled up about masks and the vaccine and all this nonsense, but they're among the first to get the vaccine. In fact, all of these prominent figures that are like anti-mask and stuff, 99% of them are vaccinated in terms of like Republican politicians. Like they're all more than likely vaccinated. And it's a play, and you should feel played if you're one of their, idolizers that look at them like they're some deity, which they do in often cases. I mean, look, you seriously believe that our geriatric, politicians, and I say geriatric in the sense that they're incredibly old, which they are, and all of them are extremely out of shape. I mean, look at Donald Trump. He doesn't probably even know what physical fitness means. I'm not, I don't. This isn't. I'm not trying to come at him personally. And if I'm describing you, I apologize. But I mean, he's old. He's out of shape. They're not healthy at all. If they got COVID, I mean, their chances are slim here. Okay. So of course they're among the first to take the vaccine. Of course these people are vaccinated, but they're what they spin to their base is, oh well, your personal freedom and mask maybe might not work and all this other nonsense. And on the terms of the vaccine, I understand people questioning, institutions. America as a country handled this poorly. I mean, they could have done so much better. I mean, you had Fauci coming out saying, or Fauci coming out saying, masks don't work when he did. And it turns out that was a lie, of course, because, I mean, the science told us that masks did work. But it comes out the fact that he said it was that he didn't want people running out grabbing the N95 mask, which the frontline healthcare workers needs. And he was afraid that there would be a shortage and that they would be without them, when he could have just came out and said that in the first place, and he never should have lied. I mean, there's many of reasons why people should distrust institutions. We know how incredibly corrupt Big Pharma is and how profit driven they are. But the fact of the matter is that vaccines do work. I mean, the most stark example is polio. Polio was running rampant, came out with the polio vaccine. It got eliminated, or almost eliminated, right? And I mean, it goes on. I mean, you have the flu shot, many other types of shots and vaccines that are administered to the population to control other diseases and what have you. So this is nothing new, but for some reason there's this visceral disdain that a certain level of the population has for the COVID-19 vaccine. And a lot of it has to do with conspiracy, but a lot of it, in my opinion, has to do with something that I just genuinely don't understand. I mean, there's just this disconnect, and I just simply disagree. And those people are wrong, the ones that are anti-vaccine. I mean, it's proven, the science proves it, but Donald Trump is actually making sense here, and he's right, but he got booed by the state that has the lowest vaccination rate, which doesn't surprise me whatsoever. They actually did something similar when Marjorie Taylor Greene touted out the fact that she did like a same kind of rally in Alabama, and she said that you guys are the least vaccinated state, and they cheered. I mean these people are absolutely diluted, and they're mad, and the Republican politicians and certain other politicians are promoting this type of nonsense. Meanwhile, they're vaccinated and safe. They don't really give a fuck if you die from COVID, but they're going to make sure that they're vaccinated. You see how you're being played here if you happen to be one of these individuals. And Donald Trump, of course, goes on to say that, if it doesn't work, you'll be the first one to know. Once again, got to give credit to him and his public speaking skills, rallying them around once he got booed, and now they're laughing again. He says, but it is working, but you have your freedom, and your freedom has to be maintained, which is, in my opinion, another way of saying, hey, if you don't want to take it, then don't do it. But he can't come out and actually say that. None of these politicians can come out and actually say that the vaccine doesn't work, unless you're somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene and you're that bombastic and idiotic that you'll actually come out and say a statement like that. I think she's the only one that can manage to do it. But Donald Trump knows, he's at least that smart to know that you can't come out and say that. But he obviously believes in the vaccine because he's taking it. He's taking it. But his hyperbolic base supporters there simply aren't believers, and that's where they deviate away from him. And who knows, maybe some of them can turn on him because he's pro-vaccine and he's actually vaccinated. But you would think that, with their allegiance to him, with him being vaccinated, they would also get vaccinated. But who knows? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. The FDA just approved the Pfizer vaccine. Maybe that'll incentivize more people to go get vaccinated. But here's Donald Trump at one of his rallies doing Trump things.